Hey, you can't just stand here like you own this place. Move, now! The sound of harsh voices echoed across the dimly lit gas station lot, drowning out the soft hum of cars and the neon buzz of the price signs. 3 uniformed cops had cornered a lone black woman beside her silver SUV. Their hands hovered dangerously close to their holsters, their eyes burning with authority and suspicion. "Don't play smart with us. You fit the description, lady. Don't make us drag you out of here," one of them barked. The woman stood still, calm, her gaze steady, her silence only fueling their anger. They thought they were in control. They thought they were about to make an example out of her. But in less than 5 minutes, they would regret every single word. Before we dive deep into this gripping tale of humiliation, power, and the most shocking twist at a gas station you'll ever hear, kindly hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, because this story deserves to travel far and wide. Now, brace yourself. Because what starts as a night of intimidation and yelling quickly turns into a story of justice, humiliation flipped, and authority being shattered in front of everyone. Her name is Special Agent Maya Johnson. Tall, purposeful, a presence that reads as calm even when the air around her vibrates with noise. Under the flat glow of fluorescent tubes, she appears like any other late-night traveler refueling between obligations. Jeans, jacket, keys resting by the gas cap. Nothing flashy, everything functional. But her stillness isn't emptiness, it's control. A practiced stillness honed in briefing rooms and blind corners, in parking lots where exits matter, and in kitchens where a cracked window is a second route out. Tonight, her mission is simple. Observe, remain ordinary, let the city pass through its motions unprovoked. The officer's theater, the crowd, the flicker of cameras, none of this was written into her plan. Yet her plan contains room for this. Her work always does. The jacket that looks plain carries 2 truths at once, the life she shows and the authority she carries. Between them, a thin line of timing and judgment. She measures every beat, not to win the moment, but to own it. The gas station sits like a glass aquarium at the edge of the night. Inside, rows of bottled drinks glow in chromatic order, labels aligned like small, obedient soldiers. Outside, damp air folds over the lot, thick with gasoline, hot rubber, and the sweet trace of a spilled energy drink soaking into hairline cracks of asphalt. The price board stutters its numbers, a tired beacon insisting on attention. A moth carves clumsy figure eights beneath the bitter light. Engines idle, pumps tick. The hoses flex and sigh when someone squeezes a handle. Cars approach, slow at the sight of uniforms, and drift to distant stalls or out to the road again. Brake lights blinking patience. A delivery van rolls by with a rattling gait, adding a hollow percussion to the scene. Across the street, an apartment window squares a blue-white glow. A television flickers from one life to the next. The officers widen their stance, shoulders squared for the crowd as much as for the woman they've boxed in. Their radios hiss with occasional static, a background growl that makes small noises feel larger. The delicate clink of keys against metal, the scratch of a boot edge on painted concrete, the thin squeal as the squeaky head skims a glass pane near pump 6. Their bodies throw big shadows that stretch and shrink as headlights wash the lot in slow-moving bands. Bystanders arrive by accident and stay by decision. A teen in a red hoodie plants his feet and braces his phone with both hands to steady the frame. A nurse in scrubs, badge clipped to her pocket, sets her coffee on the hood and folds her arms, a shift's worth of fatigue loosening into attention. A rideshare driver pauses with hazard lights pulsing, one hand on the wheel, gaze fixed through his windshield. A mother, guiding her child by the wrist, places herself between the child's line of sight and the center of the lot, but her own eyes do not leave the scene. People self-sort into witness positions. Angles improved, reflections minimized, courage measured. The store clerk leans on the counter and presses his palm to the glass, left with a faint oval of condensation that holds the imprint of his hand until the night erases it. Above him, a security monitor cycles between camera views. Register, entrance, pump island, rear alley, each feed a quiet, tireless scribe. Maya stands framed by her silver SUV, a clean line between taillight red and concrete gray. Breath in, breath out. Counted even. Deliberate. She maps everything without looking like she is mapping. The cone of vision for each camera. The cleanest sight lines for 3 different phones in the crowd. The nearest license plate reflecting enough light to bounce a crisp image. The position of the officer's feet and the slight adjustments that tell you more than their hands. She notes the way the nearest pump's metal fascia throws back a warped mirror. She notes the wind, a southerly drift carrying scents from a late-night donut fryer 2 blocks away. She notes the rhythm of the yelling, where it swells, where it strains, and files the cadence like a metronome track she can mute at will. Time changes texture when dignity is tested. Seconds become syrup. The mind learns to move through it anyway. Maya lets the weight of the moment stack brick by brick without allowing it to press into her spine. The trick is not to ignore the pressure, but to distribute it through stronger parts of the frame. She has been taught this in rooms where the stakes were lives, where the only thing you can control is the integrity of your posture and the economy of your actions. Tonight, integrity and economy are the whole strategy. A breeze lifts a receipt from the ground. It tumbles toward a storm drain, and then sutures itself to a damp patch where someone spilled washer fluid blue as a summer sky. A plastic bag inflates, becomes briefly alive, then collapses against the base of a bollard. Overhead, the neon script that spells the station's name buzzes. 1 letter half out, the hum of wounded electricity insisting it still works. In the distance, a train horn drags a long, melancholy line across the city's map. Here, the line lies down and becomes attention. The crowd's breathing finds a shared tempo, a compressed inhale at each sudden movement, a slow exhale when nothing further happens. Someone clears a throat and immediately stills, as if the sound itself could tilt the balance. Tires scuff. A dog 2 blocks away punctuates the air twice, then stops. The world practices listening. Humiliation is a fog. It creeps across ground, glassing everything in thin, prickling cold. It aims to soften outlines, to make a person's edges dissolve until only the outline of obedience remains. But it cannot cling to polished steel. It cannot hold on where the surface is prepared. Maya is prepared. The fog beads and slides off. Inside the store, the clerk's monitor flicks to the rear alley camera. A cat moves through the frame, tail flicking, a perfectly indifferent witness to a story that will not feed it. The monitor returns to the pumps. Outside, the teen in red checks his battery level and tilts his phone slightly to cut the flare from a security light. The mother shifts her stance and becomes a wall without announcing it. The city, uninterested in ceremony, keeps doing city things. A scooter glides past on the far sidewalk with its whispering belt. A bus grinds to a stop at the corner, kneels and rises again, its interior light exposing tired faces like flashcards of strangers. A paper ad tears free from a utility pole and plasters itself to the curb. Night proceeds. Maya moves only in millimeters, a fraction of weight from heel to midfoot. A calibrating stretch of shoulders, so small the jacket barely registers it. The keys by the gas cap become a metronome, a shape for her focus to rest on and return to. Her peripheral vision logs a reflection in the SUV's window, her silhouette crisp. Behind it, 3 larger shapes arranged to fill the frame. She breathes into the steadiness, not to make herself larger, but to make herself precise. Precision composes her mind into lists: cameras, witnesses, angles, distances, light sources, obstructions, exits, potential interferences, likely reports, the unreadable unknown. She assigns each item a place on a mental shelf. Nothing frantic, nothing rushed, a library ordered for later retrieval. The yelling tries to write the story in real time, but the story is already being recorded, in pixels, in glass, in memory. Truth, like gravity, waits without hurry. It knows patience is a sharper blade than volume. A sedan creeps to the pump closest to the scene, then reverses slowly to choose another stall farther away. Its backup chime pings softly, a toy sound in a hard-edged tableau. Headlights pivot, wash over the crowd, sketch moving rib cages of light and shadow across their shirts. A rig breaks on the main road. 3 axles huff and settle, and the hiss folds into the night's fabric. The nurse in scrubs adjusts the strap of her bag. Her shoulders loosen as her purpose shifts from customer to witness. The rideshare driver taps his dashcam icon. 1 red dot becomes 2, and his car becomes its own memory. Maya's stillness accumulates meaning, minute by minute. It advertises nothing and reveals everything. It tells the crowd what to look for. Not a spectacle, but a pivot. Not a collapse, but a shift. Around her, the fog of humiliation thins into the crisp air that follows a cold front. And then, timing. Good timing doesn't arrive like a drum roll. It appears like a door already ajar when you finally look at it. The swell of sound peaks and recedes. The crowd's posture leans forward in unison, anticipating an event their minds have not yet named. The neon over pump 4 steadies for the first time all night. A breath moves through the lot as if the place itself is preparing. Maya chooses this exact beat. Not earlier, not later. The jacket opens with an economy that refuses to startle. From within, a small black wallet emerges, ordinary in shape, unremarkable in any grocery line, until the light touches its face and coins the air with a flash of federal gold. The seal arcs. The number stamps a promise. The laminate answers the fluorescent buzz with a clean reply. Cameras catch. Reflections testify. Oxygen grows heavy. Shock has its own physics. It narrows the world so that only the essential remains. The crowd's eyes move as one to the badge, then to her shoulders, then back to the badge to re-verify what the mind already accepted. The nurse's grip on her bag loosens. The teen's phone steadies into a perfect rectangle. The rideshare driver lifts his eyes from the dash and sets them fully on the scene. The mother's hand falls from the child's shoulder, not out of neglect, but because the air has changed from danger to consequence. Silence replaces the night's choreography of barked orders. It is not the silence of emptiness, it is the silence of weight. A courtroom silence, an operating room silence. The kind that asks everyone present to understand they have just felt the floor become load-bearing. Maya doesn't present the badge like a trophy. She holds it like a tool, level, unmistakable, aligned with every witness who needs to see it. Her chin stays neutral. Her feet don't shift. The jacket settles back into its seam lines, the fabric recalling its shape around a new geometry of recognition. She leaves space for comprehension to do its work. Space is a form of respect when the truth is this bright. In the store, the clerk's screen freezes for a second, then resumes. The timestamp clicks over. Somewhere down the block, a porch light snaps on. Somewhere above, a window's blind is tilted by 2 fingers, and then stilled. News, before it becomes news, ripples through small domestic gestures. Humiliation, deprived of oxygen, goes out like a match in the wind. Where it existed a minute ago, a different temperature settles. Cooler, steadier, a climate fit for paperwork, apologies, investigation, and all the measured mechanisms that grind forward when flimsy performances meet durable proof. The night doesn't cheer. It simply balances. Balance rarely applauds. It corrects. The badge stays in view. No flourish. No need. The crowd composes itself into a new arrangement. Less fearful, more certain, less startled, more recording. The nurse retrieves her coffee from the hood, not to leave, but to mark the moment as held. The teen shifts left 3 steps to give his lens a cleaner line past a pillar. The rideshare driver turns off his hazards. His car becomes part of the quiet perimeter. Inside the SUV's black glass, a faint twin of the badge glows, a ghost logo stamped by reflection, as if the vehicle itself has joined the act of witness. The neon letters hum a key lower. The moth finds a patch of darkness and folds its wings. This is what justice looks like before it has paperwork. A recalibrated air pressure, a clean line of sight, a room inside the open sky where accountability can stand without wobble. It is not cinematic in the way of sirens and spectacle. It is cinematic in the way of still frames you cannot forget. The badge returns to the wallet, not hidden, simply rested, and the wallet remains where eyes can confirm what they already know. The jacket's edge lies flat again. The keys by the cap glint once, a tiny lighthouse for anyone who needs small anchors to steady the larger picture. Breath in, breath out. The worst part of the night is over, not because volume retreated, but because truth arrived. A breeze travels across the lot, cooler than the last, lifting a corner of a discarded magazine and revealing a bright smile printed there. Absurd, out of place, an advertisement whispering optimism into a scene that has already reclaimed it. The lot smells less like heat, more like damp concrete after a short rain that never actually fell. The crowd begins its slow de-escalation, phones still up but angles relaxed, feet loosening from their brace, shoulders remembering their own weight rather than carrying the night's. People have one more look at the center and then take a mental photograph to carry away. A woman who did not bend, a badge that did not blink, a silence that made itself understood. Maya steps back with the same economy she used for every other movement. The driver's door opens with the ordinary thump that separates witness from participant. The seat receives her with the quiet certainty of muscle memory. The engine turns and settles into a smooth idle. Headlights draw crisp geometry across the lot, highlighting field notes for anyone who will write them later. Positions, distances, clearances. She signals, waits for a clean gap, and rolls out without hurry. Behind her, the gas station exhales. Pumps click and tally. The store door chimes. A new car noses toward a free stall. The night accepts its corrected balance and keeps going. But the people who stood there now carry a different map of what authority looks like. Less noise, more proof. Less posture, more weight. Less theater, more truth that can be held up to the light and not flinch. In apartments and break rooms, in group chats and back seats, the story begins its second life. It will shrink and stretch as stories do, but its spine will hold. A quiet refusal, a clean reveal, a crowd that chose to look long enough to learn. The parking lot that began as a stage for humiliation ends as a record of restraint and proof. No speeches, no performances, just the steady correction that happens when truth stands where noise tried to reign. The neon keeps humming. The moth disappears into safety. The cameras blink their red dots, faithful as heartbeat lights in a dark room. The lesson is not explosive. It is sturdier than that. Power without discipline collapses, and the quiet weight of accountability does not. A woman stood her ground, and the ground remembered. If this story landed, don't let it vanish in the scroll. Subscribe now so this kind of truth keeps traveling. Comment your city so we know where the lesson reached. Share it with someone who needs the reminder. The loudest voice is not the strongest, the clearest proof is. Because the next story we bring might arrive in the same way this one did, without shouting, and impossible to ignore.